This is Almada. For those who don't know, this is our city. That's unless I was very wrong with my geography. It's okay. It's right next to Lisbon, which is Portugal's capital, and it's the most important city. This is Almada, and I really hope that in the take-up seminary in our city, the weather will be just as fine as this. So we have Almada here and Lisbon over there. Being so close to Lisbon brings added pressure because we have high demand for commuting trips. Because Lisbon is the most attractive city in the region. Most of the jobs are there, but people don't live there. They live in other municipalities of the metropolitan area, and every day see lots of people commuting to work in Lisbon, even if they don't live there. Almada has approximately 174,000 inhabitants, and it's a really big area, and has a really big population compared to other municipalities. It's the main south access to Lisbon and north of the metropolitan area. You have a number, 160,000 vehicles per day crossing the river between the two cities, which is a lot of cars. And on the other way around, you have about 8 million people crossing the bridge during the summer to go to the beach, because Almada has a very nice beachfront, and people from Lisbon and other areas of the metropolitan area come to the beach in Almada. Because of this, in our municipality, the sectors with biggest energy needs are, of course, transport and buildings. You can see here. This is the energy consumption of Almada in 2012 and the CO2 emissions. And you can see the biggest consumers is transport, residential, and services. We don't have many industry, and now with the crisis we even have less industry than before, so it's not a major contributor. Transport is more important than industry. In 10 years, Almada has grown a lot in terms of public transport offer. I remember how it was 10 years ago in 2001. We didn't have the tram, we didn't have the train, tram system. 15 years ago we didn't have, 10 years ago we didn't, because it works since 99. But it evolved a lot in the last years. This was the mobility system of Almada. It was really simple. You didn't have many options. You had boat, car, bus, bike, and the train. Now you have many more options. You have the flexibus. Someone talked about the Flipper project. The result in Almada of the Flipper project was flexibus, which is a demand-responsive bus for elderly people. Now you have bike, you have electric vehicles, you have the tram, mobility and parking management. So you have a lot of offers that you didn't have before. Unfortunately, people who used to use public transport 15 years ago, they stopped using public transport, so they don't know about these new options, so they don't use it. This is an overview of the public transport in Almada. So this is the train line, goes to Lisbon and to the south areas to Setúbal. This is Almada. This is the tram line and all the bus lines. I will show you the next slides. The thing is, even after improving a lot the PT service, there's still a lot of car use in Almada. 73% of people own a car, and almost half of the people in Almada own 2 cars. So we're talking about all the other presentations in the morning who were presenting regions, rural regions, with elderly people, with mobility disadvantages. What we have in our region, implementation region, is middle class and upper middle class with 1 or 2 cars, parking spaces available, so of course they use the car to go shopping, to go to a coffee, to go to work. And it's really complicated to change behavior when you have this pattern. So you have a model split of 50% of people using the car. And only 30% using public transport. We want to increase this number. And that's why we are involved in the Smart Move project. Our challenge is to change the high usage of private car, particularly the less dense populated areas of Almada. Like the area of smart moves like this is Sobreda, it's here. It's much less densely populated than the city center and the center of the municipality. And we have to change the cultural issues. People still see, and I think this is a common conception, people still see public transport as a negative and less attractive option because it's for the poor, or it's not doesn't give you as much freedom as a private car, etc., etc. And although our PT system is better, it still fails to address some of the needs of the users. Because if you work until late or you have night shifts, there's no public transport offer, for example. Some people consider that it's expensive. That is in some cases true, because if you have, for example, if you work in a place that gives you free parking, of course there's no possible way that a public transportation system will be competitive, because if you don't have to pay for the parking place, of course you will take a car. The second biggest issue is that many people don't have information about feeder systems, or in public transport in general. Almada has the public transport guide, I will show you, but people don't know it. Most people don't know it, and that's why we are here in the Smart Move project to try to raise awareness for that. Almada has more than 15 years of experience in policies and transport and mobility. He participated in several European projects, the European Mobility Week, and Children's Agenda 21, and we want to change mobility and behavioral patterns, and to promote sustainable development. That's why we are here. I will just show a quick example of some of the actions. This is the Trips for Trash initiative. When people can switch, my colleague already presented this in another presentation, so I'll be very quick. People can change trash for free public transport tickets. Or the new residence kit, so every new resident gets a kit with free tickets, timetables, etc., so to raise awareness for public transport use. We want to capitalize on that experience because we have several actions, we have lots of experiences, and we won the European Mobility Award in 2010. So we don't want to invent the wheel, we want to use our previous experience and try to implement an ANC campaign here in Almada. So for the Smart Move, we want to adapt already implemented active measures like the Trips for Trash, of course, specifically for the feeder system. We were planning to start during the Arbor Day in March. We want to do citizen audits and personalized advice. What is Transport List? Transport List is a route planner, is a website and a widget and an app for smartphones where you can plan your trip. There's an option to add a widget like we did for a music festival, Rock in Rio, where you could calculate how to go to the festival by public transport. You can do something like that applied to the feeder system. It's not complicated. We want to update the PT guide online, the paper and internet versions. Just show you. So this is the public transport guide, this book. Of course, has information of all the public transport, so we might be able to use just a small amount of it today, just for the feeder system and the public transport system. We want to adapt the welcome mobility kits to keep it simple. So this is just an example. I hope you don't get mad at me, but Fertagos has a really complicated tariff system, and they made an amazing job in putting all the information in one piece. But of course, for a user, it's not easy to pick up this and read all this information. So you might want to keep it simple. We are planning to do a simple version just for the feeder system. So let me just present what is the fixed route rail system. This is the Fertagos. It's a private operator. It's a rail system. It's operating since 1999, and it serves people in Lisbon and the south bank of the river. It has 14 rail stations with park and ride and bike and ride, and it works 7 days per week between 5:30 and 2 p.m. It's responsible for about 80,000 daily commuting trips. And according to the last service, about 25% of customers were previously using private car and stopped using private car because of the train system. I myself used this until a couple of years ago. And this is the feeder system. What we have here is the feeder line that we selected and the detail here. So this is the rail station and this is the start of the line. So this is the area that we want to target. The whole Sul-Fertagos rails, trains, bus service has 40 buses and 5 million passengers. About 27% of Fertagos customers use the feeder system. We want to improve this number, of course. And why did he choose this design? Because first, it's inside the municipality of Almada, and it's the only one that serves the Portugal rail station, and it's probably the one that needs the most improvements in terms of passenger use. What have we done until now? We involved the public transport operator, which has a representative here today. We have the Almada City Council involved. We are going to involve the Parish Council of Sobreda and the residents associations, because our main target is not the elderly, it's the commuters, and probably the best way to address them is the residents association. We are planning to start in March, April 2015, but we still need to develop the service. And that's one thing that we want to improve, and we hope that with this training seminar and the next activities we can improve, because we don't know yet how we will make the survey, how it will be useful for us. Just because we need to collect users' needs and collect information for evaluation. Someone spoke about that in the morning. So it's really important to plan and do a good survey. This is the catchment area. So you see here the line. There are about 28,000 people in the whole area, so this is too much. We will focus only on this area here, which is what you see here. 500-meter buffer or 750-meter buffer. We are talking about 3,000 to 4,000 people. So it's much less people, and it's easier to contact them for the AMC campaigns. So we are going to focus on this area, which is also the less densely populated area, and the area where no other form of public transport is available apart from the feeder system and 1 or 2 bus lines. What we are planning in our Smart Move campaign is to send a letter, which was explained in previous presentations. We don't know, because of the privacy issues, if we can send and we can buy the addresses at the post office or something. So one alternative that we are thinking is to send with the municipal newspaper. It's sent every month to every household. The thing is, we won't have a personalized letter. It will be just a letter informing the citizens. We invite the citizens to participate in the project and to respond to a survey. And people that show availability should respond to the survey. We are planning to have both an online version and a door-to-door survey, because some people might not be available for a door-to-door survey or prefer to use the internet. We will give them, as planned, we will give them that option. They can choose whichever mean they prefer. Afterwards, they will receive a small gift. I don't have prepared gifts yet. I can give you some examples. I've brought them with me and I can show you. After the segmentation phase and the results, we will categorize the several groups, and groups 3 and 4, as presented before, will receive a welcome kit in commas, because it's not a welcome kit. It's not for new residents, it will be for everyone who's interested in the campaign, and will be adapted to the Sul-Fertagos feeder system. So it will have timetables, for example, a magnet for the fridge with a timetable that you can put on your house, and you can have information what time is the next bus, or free tickets, and Fertagos will help us with that. For example, a 1-month pass to use the feeder system. PT guide of Almada updated, and some other information. For example, okay, it's the tariffs. It's not easy to understand this, but if you say something like this, okay, you use the rail system, you pay 42 euros per month to use the rail system, and pay 30 euros to park the car in the park and ride facility. So it's about 70 to 75 euros per month. How about using the feeder system? You pay an extra 5 euros, so instead of 42 you pay 47 euros, and you can take the bus to the train station, and you don't have to pay the 30 euros per month to park the car, for example. Or instead of taking the car directly to Lisbon, why don't you just take the bus and then the train? You take 40 minutes and you spend, I don't know, maybe less 130 euros per month by using the public transport instead of using the car. And of course you spend less time also. Anyone, I don't know if you ever crossed the bridge during peak hours, and it takes at least 1 hour to cross the bridge. 1 hour. Instead of taking 2 hours per day, you just take 1.5 hours. Okay, it's not that much, but it's better. You can read, see your emails, you can do productive work instead of just lying in your car and waiting in the queue. Other personalized advice and citizen audits that we are planning is, for example, having a stand, like we have a transport lead, a stand in the rail station where you can give personalized advice to people who use the rail station. Like, it's a route planner, so it's an internet route planner, so, where are you going? So you can just, okay, you can use these options, okay, you took the car, but you can use these options as an alternative. We can use it can do it at the rail station. We still need to decide where we are going to do it next to the origin of the bus feeder system. So in Sobreiro, the parish, because unlike the priests or local fairs, we don't have that typical events over there, so we still don't know exactly how we will contact those people. I hope you guys can give me some help with that. And the public transport operator is already involved, so they will provide free tickets, they will provide logistic support, which is very important, as presented in the previous presentation. They show availability to change service frequency and timetables, because if there's a demand for certain hours of service, they show availability to improve the service at those timetables. And they show also availability to refurbishment of bus stops. This is very important because although Fertagos is the owner of the feeder system, they are not responsible for the bus stops. The parishes are responsible for the bus stops. And sometimes the information is not up to date, they are not well maintained. So one of the things that we are planning is to adapt and update and show timetables, points of interest, the whole route, because there's no, that information currently is not available. So you just reach a bus stop and there's no information, there is nothing, you just know that a bus will pass eventually over there. Of course, this is not attractive to anyone. And basically, this is our current state of the implementation plan. It's a draft version. I hope at the end of the week, after this take-up seminar, after the training seminar of tomorrow, and the project meeting, it will be much, much better and more improved. Thank you.